Does your agent have your best interest in mind? Meaning, I'm setting up a high cash value life insurance policy, and is it truly maximized? Am I using the right company, the right policy design? How do I know that the money I'm paying in, if my goal is to optimize the cash value, how do I know that the dollars I'm paying in are truly set up for that purpose, maximum cash, and extra isn't being taken to enhance compensation to the agent, or a different company is used for whatever reason? So to get into this, when we set up policies, there are several different ways and companies we can set high cash value life insurance policies up with. And to be clear, I am emphasizing maximizing the cash value of a life insurance policy. When we set it up to optimize the cash value, there's two things that an agent has to know or be aware of. One, they have to know how to design a policy properly. And then two, they have to be willing to do so. So I will say that a lot that we've encountered over the years, and we do train a lot of agents, we've got one-on-one training and then also virtual training for many with our programs, but many fall into the category of not knowing how to design it properly. Lack of knowledge, and it takes time to learn, and the insurance industry in itself is not that well equipped. So the first thing, when it comes to policy design, we talk about this all the time. You pay $1 into a policy, it can go toward the premium or towards the PUA rider. If we are trying to maximize the upfront cash value, which will maximize the long-term cash value as well, especially based on the guarantees, which is what we want to look at, we should see right off the bat 80% as the minimum, and then upwards with some high early cash value products, 90%. Typically, with a strong long-term product, we'll see between 85 and a little over 90% in the first year. 85 to 87 we see a lot, which is strong, but somewhere in that neighborhood. We also have to know how or be aware of the company limitations. So what this means is whatever company or companies I'm familiar with as an agent or recommending to a policyholder, what are their limitations? How much can I add into PUAs? Is it 3 times? Does that turn into 10x or no limits when I use different riders and such? Can I request loans through a mobile app? Is it direct deposit? Is it check? Whatever it might be, knowing the different company limitations and such. And then also, we have to be well versed or understand the MEC testing and MEC limits on a life insurance policy. You know, if we want to fund a policy for a long period of time and optimize the upfront cash value, if the policy is not set up right and dividend rates go down, something happens, we cut a term rider too early, you can run into a MEC. And now we've got a problem all of a sudden. So we don't want that to occur. An agent has to know how to prevent that from happening, how to stress test a policy up front. So you can tell I'm going through a lot here. It takes some time to understand the ins and outs. Here's the other side. We've got to be willing as an agent. So firstly, on the policy design, money can go where? Premium or the PUA rider? Compensation to an agent is primarily driven off of the base premium piece. So we promote the 1090 split all the time. And where that came from, the 1090 split, is a lot of the larger companies that we prefer, that's about as low as you can drive that base premium. Some smaller companies let you go lower, but with the top carriers that have always delivered, that 10% premium, we're squeezing it as low as the company will allow. Now, we've gotten a lot of resistance from that, from competitors, other agents over the years, saying that that can't be done because it'll MEC, or it just can't be done and they leave it at that. The thing is, if you squeeze that premium down, that does minimize the compensation, and especially the upfront commission, more than anything else on a life insurance policy, off of the base premium, plowing everything else into PUAs. The other thing is the company selection. So if you've watched any of our content, you've heard me use the words, the big four, or the 4 major mutual companies so many times. So when it comes to those particular companies, the reason I recommend them is I've seen proof that they've always delivered the highest actual cash values. the thing is, those companies, the big four, all write and offer life insurance in the state of New York. Another smaller company does as well, Security Mutual Life. Many other carriers do not write insurance or offer it in the state of New York. We're not going to mention any names here, but if you're not being presented one of these companies, there's a good chance that if you live in New York, you won't be able to obtain a policy through an alternative carrier. Here's where I'm going with this. The state of New York does regulate commissions. If an insurance carrier writes business in New York, it impacts their commissions in all states. So if you are a top producer, meaning you're doing millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars in premium, in production with insurance companies, they are going to, how can I put it, bid for your business and pay you the highest rate to get you to place business with them. So if you're using one of these companies that write in New York, the highest you can get a commission on the base premium, and this is in the first year, is 93%. Most will start out between 50 and 55% until you get up to that level where they say, okay, you've done business, you're proven, we're going to pay you a higher rate. But I'm just showing the top levels here. This is year 1. And then after that, years 2 through 10, there's typically a 5% renewal, and PUAs pay anywhere between 2 to 3.5%. PUAs, they do pay some commission, but they're very low. With a company that is not contracted in New York, they'll pay up to 130% in the first year in premium. So to clarify, if I have a policy design, let's say it's a 1090 split with a $10,000 base premium and a 90K PUA, you see where I'm going with this. One of the companies that, aside from the compensation, have actually delivered strong cash values to consumers would pay an absolute max of $9,300. A smaller company would pay $13,000. Okay, I see a difference there. Now, we're going back to have to be willing. Here's the other thing. We'll promote often a 1090 split. And again, the reason why, it maximizes cash value. For the consumer, exact same thing that we do for banks and corporations, which, by the way, use these guys. We just put a BOLI into force for a bank, a BOLI policy. Guess what 2 carriers came up top? There's a smaller community bank. Mass always has a good product. New York Life does as well, but Mass and Guardian. Bank, they're not going to use small companies. They want the companies that have delivered. But aside from that, to get back on point here, 1090 split. So we're minimizing compensation, maximizing cash value. That's the main thing. Now, we'll hear from others that use other carriers. Let me put it over here. Often a 40-60 split. Perhaps it's a 30-70. A much higher base premium with a much higher compensation route. And what we get as feedback, or what you might hear, is, oh, you don't want to go with a 1090 split because it might mech down the road. No, it won't. If it's designed right, if you know how to actually construct the policy and stress test it, it won't mech. Then the next argument you might hear is you need a small to medium-sized company to practice IBC, or that's the direction to go, which is not the case. Makes no sense. You can practice IBC or utilize cash value life insurance policy, utilize cash value life insurance and loans and such with any cash value life insurance policy. Seriously, when you look at how policies function. So really, when the agent has to be willing, where I'm going with this is, if they're recommending a smaller company and it's with a higher split, knowing that, okay, now that I see the split and I understand what the compensation incentive for them is this truly in my best interest? If I, the consumer, can have more cash up front and long term, why is it not being recommended? And if there's a reason for it, then we want to hear that out, obviously, but hopefully this was helpful in terms of providing some transparency in the insurance industry and such. If you have any questions or would like to see any custom proposals, feel free to reach out. And as always, hope this helps. Hey guys, Steve Parisi here. If you enjoyed the content you just saw, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for future videos. If you'd like more information or to see some custom policies for yourself, feel free to call or email our offices at the contact information below.